Hello.
Hello.
Is this the
Hello.
where am I? There's a light in the distance, and I'm stumbling towards the clearing, and I've walked into
It's always strikes
Strikes
late.
Late episode.
You
Well, we
Another
did it.
three
wacky,
heroes.
wacky late night episode.
Indeed, everyone out there, you
Yeah.
know what you've come to expect and love. A little bit of zaniness, a little bit of craziness,
Mhm.
just not being on point with the topic to make it worth that listen, hopefully.
Yeah.
So let's try to keep that trend going.
Yeah. I'm not wearing a hat tonight. I feel a little naked. I don't know.
It's true.
Well,
Okay.
It's okay. I've got mine on for you.
Oh, thank you.
So everybody out there, we're in full pseudo holiday season. You know, the high holy days of Cyber 5, where you buy too much stuff online and in
Yep.
stores, have
Mhm.
kicked off the season. Minor footnotes like the Macy's Day Parade continue. And we await glorious celebrations of commercialness later in the month. But for now, we've gotten our own gift from Games Workshop, which is the subject of today's episode, which is this truly zany, quite unexpected, massive drop.
Really out of left field.
Really out of left field.
Breaking
Regiments
all
of
the
Renown.
rules. All the rules are gone.
All the rules for Grotmas. So here we are. Here we are.
Yeah.
Figure that's a pretty meaty topic, and it actually happened just after we recorded our last episode, which is why we were all sweetly oblivious, I think.
Mhm.
Yep. And no one will know. And the little drops will be like, hey, why did these guys cover this?
Yeah,
You know.
we were as surprised. Little known fact: we did not get insider knowledge from Games Workshop yet.
No.
Indeed.
Miles is on the wrong island.
No,
I
you
know.
missed the mark. Greener there, but
Yeah.
worse
I mean,
meat
it's nice.
pie.
No. Yeah,
Where's
Island.
Intel?
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, Island.
So let's just preamble this thing for a second,
Sure.
before we get into the individual rules,
Mhm.
because I think what's so weird about it is we're in fourth edition, right? And
Yeah.
Regiments of Renown are kind of a new thing.
Yeah.
We kind of feel like you took away our allies, which were fun, but you gave us these, and these are also fun.
Okay.
But it had sort of felt like there were some patterns. Pattern being generally within faction,
Mm-hmm.
pattern being, or Grand Alliance, I should say, pattern being,
Yeah.
you kind of got one or two in a book to maybe parcel out or something like
Sure.
that, or that might have come with the index and been like available or
Yep.
whatnot from some of the older books that had just come out. And you're like, okay, this is
Mhm.
the lay of the land. This is the way gravity works. Things
Yep.
fall down, rain will occasionally appear, it snows in the winter.
Oh man,
And then
I miss snow.
I know. Snow's reliable. Snow's cool by
Yeah.
definition. But here, it's
Yeah.
like we went outside and it's like raining donuts and frogs, like what the heck? Because these regiments are all over the map. They're all at once. They're coming seemingly out of nowhere, left field, as we said.
Have you tried catching a frog in your mouth?
Not when it's raining frogs.
Probably
Probably
horrible.
Easier, I think.
It kicks you. It's just nasty. I don't even know what to make sense of any of this, man.
Your formative experiences, Rocco, are things I've always been curious about. And this is just one more peek behind the curtain.
Go on.
I love this.
I mean, so it is interesting to see all these regiments get released, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really kind of we only see one regiment of renown really in this meta, right?
Yeah.
Even though there are four, am I right? Four with the current books, and then whatever the Slaves to Darkness ones will be.
Yeah.
I haven't got my book yet, so I don't count Slaves to Darkness in my lexicon.
Yeah, if you have an order army, it's gonna be Saviors of Cinderfall. You're gonna be jumping around everywhere.
Yeah, I've got that.
One.
Well, let's do that first.
And that's one that's honestly like kind of why I don't like Regiment of Renown, like Callous and Toll, right?
Yeah,
like that's the most overused one. It's completely undercosted. It's an auto take in every list that you have to do competitive play in, and it's kind of boring, to be honest. There is no real like tactical play in it.
Yeah,
this is a preordained thing that I will stick down on here to get this point, like so it's kind of like my looking at the regiments for like, okay, cool, like maybe 1 out of 10 of these is going to be competitive, but that's going to show up in everything because they need to sell the models or there's something, right?
Yeah.
There's a different reason behind it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think that the state of having only one or two of the, like, how many do we seriously have in the game right now?
There are, let's think about this. Before the Grotmas, the Great Grotmas, I'm going to count them off, and I'm going to use the Orcish counting machine, the Thinker Abacus. So one, we had, I think one of the original ones was the Zinchian wizard dude, right? Like like with the horrors or whatever. There was Hagrax's Pit Beast, which was useless, so no one took it. That was another one of those. I probably missed them, so guys, fill in the gaps as I come along. There's definitely the one with Calisatol we talked about.
There's the Shooty Boys, right?
Yeah, just to kill the Shooty Boys. There's
which are the only ones that I found
the Skaven shooters.
Those are newer.
There's also the Skaven shooters. Yep.
There's the other new Skaven, like wheel guys with the Warlord and the Stormburner. There's the Gunner Brands group, which is really fun. Love those. There's the
you can still take a Mega Garden, right?
There's the Hunter cadre thing for Stormcast Eternals.
That's right.
And then there's one more for Stormcast that I just can't remember off the top of my head.
And I think maybe even one more too for like one of the evil factions. I think there might maybe one or two more that were listed. So they're like 10. But these were 10 that were mostly old book, like kind of coming out of like the
they're all the vampire stuff too.
Oh yeah, well you're right. Sorry,
all the vampire stuff.
Yep.
Because that all stayed,
and that was all really strong. And that was maybe the first time you could have like this crazy efficient block.
Manfredo popping up 6 inches from you.
I don't know how I forgot that. I don't know.
Incredible ability.
I try to block them out as much as possible because of the end times. He needs to go and be staked through.
They're such a symptom of their moment, though, right, Rocco? Like you think about it. Like when they came out, that was super busted and cool. But everyone's like, okay, it's the end of the edition. This will last about 5 minutes, and then the new edition will wipe away all their superpowers, and it'll be like just either gone or a thing you can take. I think that's broadly been like a little bit true. There's definitely been builds for some of those that's been really cool. And I feel like we're all looking at how neat they are and how you can kind of fill a hole in your army, like within your Grand Alliance with them. And those are kind of the 10 or 11 that did it. But I think I was just tricked because I figured every book we'd get, there'd be a sprinkling of like 1 to 2 Regiments of Renown. And they would basically be available within the Grand Alliance, and it'd be some cool like little angle you could find, and that would pretty much be it until 2 or 3 years from now they do like the next story arc and they decide to like release more $50 books that we buy, which include these and some other stuff like that. Not that I am cynical about the model, I just kind of assume that's when we're going to get like a spike in new content. So when we get these regiments, I'm just like, what? And that's first of all 8 for free. Games Workshop. Do you realize that people were able to download this on your website and just like use them?
Free rules? Shut up.
No transaction needed. But the second bit is the pattern, which I think we'll see when we start getting into them, and that so many of these are very loosely available either in different Grand Alliances than the kind of the home models, or kind of just like to anybody. Like, do you have an army? You can take it. That is crazy to me.
Bone Reapers got to go get that tithe, all right? Listen, they got to go out there.
It's a lead-in. Rocco, why don't you take away with the first one? Do you have the war scroll up?
I do. As
it's almost like
unofficial fact checker. No, stop it. I'm not that prepared. Enforcers of the Tithe. Unlike most undead, the Ossiarchs are willing to compromise, provided their tithe is not waylaid. Though they bear little trust of the forces of chaos, the desperate or cutting general may be able to direct them towards a mutual foe. After all, the Bone Reapers will happily harvest the corpses of both sides. This includes 1 Mortison Ossifactor, one of the new heroes there. 10 Mortec Guard, 10 Mortec Guard. 20 come in a box, and 1 Gothazar Harvester that gets buffed by the Ossifactor.
So like kind of a nice little block. of like models. And I haven't looked at the points a little bit, so I can't remember exactly. But I'm sure like a chunk of your army for the meat there.
I don't think any of these is over 500 points either. Like some of them are really low, and then some of them are, but it's not never too crazy.
Well, they're always at a slight discount, right?
Yeah.
To the just taking the war scrolls in the book.
Yeah.
Of course, minus the allegiance ability because they're kind of on an island, but plus some wonky thing they've added in for flavor.
Well, here's the thing, right? Because word saves got moved to the keywords. So things that you were paying before for like bringing in allied death factions, like, well, I'll lose my word save, not anymore. But the people that can include this are Cities of Sigmar, Daughters of Cain, Flesh Eater Courts, Fire Slayers, Gloomspite Gits, Caradron Overlords, Cruel Boys, Ogre Maw Tribe, Skaven, Sons of Behemoth, and Soul Blight Grave Lords.
And that's funny. That's funny, right? Who's missing?
Bone Reapers.
And
there's too many armies.
Oh, that's quick. Yep, Slaves of Darkness can't take them because they're in a fight.
Yeah, but that's literally the or death.
All chaos.
And the more discerning elves can't take them. No Hessians and no.
They just had a war. It's fine,
That's what I think. I think you love about this because these are like truly a narrative army build.
Yeah,
and they are 510 points.
Okay,
like so
quarter of your army.
That's a decent chunk.
And here's the thing too with this: we got 3 good abilities here, but you bring in a wizard.
Solid value there. Good point. I mean, like anything where you're getting like a free whiz, that's kind of one less you have to build into your army somehow, and it lessens the tax on these sorts of things.
Yeah, and KO don't have wizards.
Yeah, I was just about to say KO is the KO and Sons, right?
Yep.
That's right. Sons always
and Fire Slayers all can get some help with that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, endless spells from our friends, the giants. Okay.
It
makes for a very very stark difference on the table between models. So I'm interested to see how somebody would convert those up.
That's where I think the zaniness begins. Like the clash you're gonna see of like a bunch of like OCRs with someone's like, Cruel Boy's army, maybe less so with the cities or like the daughters or like, it'll be interesting. But let's look at these rules too. So what do you get with this group of guys?
Right. So starting off, once per turn for the army in any combat phase, collect the tithe. Pick a Gothazar Harvester in this regiment of renown to use this ability. Then pick a non-hero infantry unit, friendly or enemy, to be the target. Roll the dice. If the roll equals or exceeds the target's health characteristic, one model in the target unit is slain, and give that unit using this ability 1 bone tithe point.
And that goes more dice to stick next to a model and accidentally knock over. Joy.
I find the Gothazar Harvester very threatening in this ability because of his board-wide laser eye tractor beams, which don't require any sort of combat or range to use this ability.
So the way that you can get around that fear is just call him by his true name, the Derp Turtle.
Of course. He is a little crotch goblin picking up the bones.
That's always just like the lowest legionary, whoever's failed the most is resuscitated.
You're not a horse, you can be a feeder arm. Also, it's worth noting the Ossifactor buffs the harvester on a 3-up to add extra rend to its melee weapons. So we do have synergies. We've got a combo. And again, it's just we got 20 more tech guard that are very chunky. In your movement phase, rebuild on the march, pick the harvester in this regiment. If you got 6 bone tithe points, you can use this ability. Then pick another unit in this regiment that has been destroyed to be the target. Reset the harvester's bone tithe points to 0 and set up a replacement unit with half the models. So functionally, you're probably going to get, an extra 5 more tech. You have 25 more tech running around through the course of your game. That ain't bad.
I think that's true. I mean, it's kind of the use, right? And you can reliably always get your 6 points after the end of the third turn, because at least as it's written here, maybe they read it or something. Like he doesn't have to be fighting something. He just like, there's a 1 wound model over there. I roll a 1 or higher. I do it. He just removes the 1 wound guys. He gets a 6, and then you summon up another speed bump. I mean, it's not super flashy, but it's cool. I mean, I think it's a neat little ability.
There is no range on that.
I'm sure they'll add like a combat range.
It's combat phase, right?
It's combat phase.
We know what they're trying to say.
Yeah, it's gonna be the unit you're fighting with it.
Or laser tractor beam eyes from the Gothazar Harvester.
I mean, it could actually have laser tractor beam eyes. You don't really know, but those lasers somehow have to have calcium in them.
It does have the shooting tech normally. We've got Soul Crusher weapons. I'm trying to stay on topic.
We are not helping you.
The red is really nice. Each time an enemy model is slave, give it 1 bone tithe point, which you're already tracking anyway. So it just gives you an extra way to actually get bone tithe points. And at the end of any turn, you can return a number of slain models with a health characteristic equal to the bone tithe points that the unit has accrued. So it gives you a second way to use the harvester.
I also
which is really nice.
I kind of like the spell. I don't like that it's a 7 to cast because like.
Well, Matt, what's the spell? We didn't even say it yet.
So you take the Mortis and Ossifactor. I can't read well,
I can
pick a
read
friendly
well.
unit. Pick a friendly unit.
You got this, buddy.
In the Regiment of Renown to be the target, or and pick a unit to be the recipient, right?
Yep.
So the target and the recipient must be wholly within 12 and visible to the caster. And the way this looks like it's going to work is you want everybody bunched up anyways, right?
Yep.
So that's not going to be hard to do.
Nope.
Unless you're up against somebody actively staying away from you, which you want anyways. So until the start of your next turn, the target has a maximum control score of 1, and you can add 1 to hit rolls and wound rolls for the recipient's combat attacks. I think that turns this into a nice like anchor for a lot of armies that don't necessarily have one, or the anchors that they do have are so much of a multitasker that they have to do. They have to be able to be in range of other things and do everything else that needs to be done on the field to keep an army alive. Like, let's say Marathi, right? Yep. Who is also hyper expensive. I would seriously consider taking this in my Daughters of Cain list because it is a good solid bastion that like people don't necessarily want to undercommit anything into. And it's relatively cheap.
Yeah,
for what it is.
Big chunky pile of meat. This was pretty good.
Yeah.
As compared to Marathi, who is absolutely devastating, yes, but you're paying the points for her, right? She's the only anchor in that entire army. This is actually a pretty good one.
Yeah.
And again, I think is what's fun about this, introducing new elements to armies don't have them. But Rocco, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I'm with you because you're paying 500 points. You get your screens you don't have normally. You've got a monster that can do damage. Everyone's got exploding hits. You've got anti-charge rend on the Mortec guards. You got crit 2 hits. With this spell, you can get them on 2s and 3s. Like you're playing regular freaking OBR. And you've got access to a wizard, which in this world where endless spells are mandatory, if your army doesn't normally have them, this could be your cast as well on turn 1 to get out the Kron Spine.
And there are a couple of things to note, right? Like this is not going to have the extra 3-inch move that you can hand out. So this is going to be extremely slow, and you're literally just running these guys up the center of the board to get into 100%. Range for somebody to charge you.
Turn 1, they seize the center. You just try to hold on for dear life.
Yep. And, not like the most fun way to do it. I could see these as being like a real pain in the ass for somebody who is expecting to go up against like something like, Daughters of Cain. Maybe certain Gits builds.
Yeah. that are used to dying in droves. Now they've got to think, because the other thing too is it's on the war scroll for the Mortec guard to have the passive ability of shield wall to ignore all modifiers to save rolls if they don't move.
Yep.
So if you can get away that first turn plopping them on an objective, and then that next turn comes around and they just stand solid, you're having a good time.
Yeah,
and that's fun, right?
Sounds nice to me.
I love that, and that's just the
stand
unlock,
on circles.
right?
It
got something.
It gives you an actual durable screen for your bow snakes and all your other shooting in cities or flesh eaters who just don't have access to a 4-up save half the time
to
do something. And it gives KO melee output that isn't just units of 3 balloon boys.
Yep.
You know who it's actually pretty good for is flesh eater courts, I think, because they're just squishy. It's something that sticks. But
Yep. As
that's
they
a thought.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, who wants to take the second one?
You know what? Let me take the next one. Actually, no, I can't. I cannot because I don't have a ship I'm sculpting the face on. Matt, this one is for you.
Come on, Mr. Reed Good.
Yeah, it's time to read good. So this is actually why I've been posting those pictures of the goblin on the front of a KO boat. I actually had a bunch of KO sitting around, and I'm dreadfully afraid of this army, to be honest. So the Exile Scavengers is a Karajan Overlords Regiment of Renown. It's apparently this dude who was, he was bad at capitalism because he was really, really good at capitalism, because in capitalism, the end state is bribing somebody to get what you want. Like, money is all that matters. Remember, money is your god in capitalism. And this guy went too capitalistic for the KO. And so he stole a gun hauler and fled from the KO, and now he just follows around armies and then steals their treasure. So it's like a KO pirate, very, very tiny regiment of renown. It's essentially 3 Skywardens, 1 Grunstock gun hauler, and then an Endrin Master with the Bubble Boy suit. So it's like super tiny.
Highly mobile.
Oh yeah.
12 inches. Yeah.
For a dwarf, that's a lot. All right.
That is a lot. I tend to, I'm still a little bit like, I'm still dismayed at the loss of movement for a lot of the units. The fact that Seekers only move 12, but my lovely Paladors can still move 14 is very strange.
Super weird.
Yeah.
So when I think of a mobile army, I think of something that's more than 12 inches. 12 inches is the almost there mobile for me. And then 8 inches is somehow like my troop choice in almost every army that I play.
There you go.
So this one is interesting. Almost anybody can take it. Except for KO, obviously, because they got jealous of the amount of capitalization of the resources and everything that was going on. Literally, even Beasts of Chaos and Bone Splitters can take this, which is hilarious.
That's
just really rubbing it in.
About.
Sons of Behemoth are here. Soul Blights here. OBR's chill. Hey man, you want to deep strike in an OBR army? Let's go.
Even fight for those slaves of darkness baddies,
And this one does what I think is probably the most interesting rules for me, or at least the most effective for me in the way I like to play. It's the same KO, keep them in the sky, right?
Yep.
And the boats already have the transport stuff, right?
Yep.
But the way that it works is you put your Grunstock gun hauler down, and you set it on the battlefield more than 6 inches away from all enemy units that have an artifact of power. And if they don't have an artifact, then it's 9 inches from other enemy units, right? So this allows you to get in the backfield, get on almost guaranteed charge. And then the craziest thing is that you set everything else up wholly within 3 of the Grunstock gun hauler and more than 6 inches from all enemy units.
Which is really easy to do. It's 4 models.
Right. And they are all on tiny bases, except for where's that guy? Yeah, he's on a 40. Boop. Except for the big bubble boy, lead capitalism himself. So basically, what that allows you to do is shirk away from that need to have more than 9 inches from all enemy units, and you can actually still do the same more than 6 inches from all enemy units by dropping the ship out of 9 from something else. So that means you've got a fairly guaranteed charge to wipe up something off the battlefield. Let's say like what's some of the skirmishing stuff we'd see that would get take the flanks, right? That's an immediate screw your take the flanks. You can't get that. That's an immediate, like, if you are stuck in an area where you need to like make 2 charges, that's guaranteed 2 charges, right? This is a super strong one to me. And then there's the last one, or the last rule that they get, which is once per turn in your combat phase, you can steal an artifact of power from a unit, right? Which is cool, great, grand, wonderful. You add 1 to the roll for each unit of the Regiment of Renown that it is in combat, which means you go 6, 5, 4. Is your maximum. So it's really for shits and giggles at best, but the real power of it is I've got these mildly decent combat guys that for sure should be able to wipe out like a small 5 or 10 man unit.
Well, hold on 1 second too, Matt. It's add 1 for each unit in the regiment that is in combat. There's 3 units. You'd be a +3. It starts at a 6 up. You can
see, this is where I can't read or mirth.
Yeah.
See, this is why they never give me the power.
Hero real quick, right? Some that has some game-winning bullshit artifact on there, and you just drop down outside of 6 because it's the artifact of power thing for the swoop in ability. You shoot the hell out of him if he's still out there. It probably will be because you got the artifact. You go in, jump him, have a good time, steal the shit, and run.
Yeah, and I think I'm not gonna lie, I find that as like a secondary. That's like that's cool that you had that. Yeah, like sitting out there to do that. But like the fact that these guys now have a 6-inch charge, like that's good enough. That makes everything amazing. I love it, and I love it.
I think there's a lot of value to that because they're just getting in there in such like a weirdly precise way. It's 100% not what you're going to want to not consider when you say, oh, I guess my backfield wizard would have the artifact of power. Like that's all the armies that do that and have a small footprint because they don't want to spend models on screens or bots. Because they rely too much on their gods. Like that is an auto assassinated thing for someone who has this particular like regiment. I mean, I'll just pick on my own army for a second. If I'm a Slaves of Darkness player and I'm juicing on Varangard and stuff, but I have like a Chaos Sorcerer Lord with like the sort of artifact of power or something sitting around, and I want him to survive or do something, you can kill him because I don't have screens and he's just there. It's a cool technical choice in my mind because of that. And there's certainly other situations where you can just like use whoever has the artifact of power as kind of like an anchor to like launch onto something else vulnerable. So I think it's neat. And I can't wait to see your conversions on these guys, Matt, once they're all done.
Yeah, so those of you not in the Discord or on Blue Sky, I've been sculpting an anti-capitalist, a socialist revolution by the Red Gabo army onto my KO boats. So everybody has the squig boats and everything. Well, I'm going to be building essentially an actual grot rebel force. So very nice. It's coming along. We'll see how it works. I did want to say one more thing on this before we moved on. Hilariously, I think this is almost like one of the best answers to KO themselves. because of their plus, I think it's +2 or +3 to move artifact, that will stop a KO player right in the plans. It'll just hit them right in the plans. So if you somehow are surrounded by KO and they've been shooting you for a long time, and it tends to be that most KO players are hyper dedicated because it's a very specific play style. They're a very specific looking army.
Yep.
So they tend to be really good. They have the same problem Beast Chaos did before before the White Dwarf in 3rd edition, right? Which is you have to be really good at the army that you're playing in order to have any fun. This is going to stop them. So if you run into them, just run up to your friendly KO player, say, "Hey, can I borrow some models from you?" I'm sure they'll say sure. They're just happy to see them on the table.
Wardens.
Right? So go and use that on your KO friend and take away their movement, and then they will never let you borrow their army again.
Yep.
So
another shout out for me too is Stormcast have an artifact where you can't shoot the dude unless you're within so many inches.
Yeah, mirror shield.
Mirror shield. And this drops within, just outside of 6. So yeah, it's just a homing beacon if you want to blast away the important hero they're trying to protect.
And there's a lot of interesting weird things, right? But the great thing is you're doing this in your movement phase. So this isn't done in anybody else's movement phase. You dictate unless they have a strike first specific rule. Which don't charge them. That's not a smart idea.
Your KO, shoot them.
Right. So once you charge them, you immediately make that roll, right? So just make sure everything gets in. Go take that away. No more mirror shield. No more fast moving boats.
No more fun. Pretty reasonable. I mean, so far, two fun little guys making our lives interesting.
Guys, we're trying to be positive, right? Wait a minute.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to be positive. It's Grot Miss. Thank you.
It is Grot Miss. I'm looking at this purely from okay, how would I take this?
Oh, sure.
Because I think this is from a competitive standpoint my favorite one in the book, because it solves the problem of a lot of slow armies, a lot of armies that can't teleport or don't have easy access to teleport. This is guaranteed.
Deep strike in. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's not amazing. It's really cool. I like the way you're thinking about using it, Matt, but it's far from my favorite. And I'll just say you'll appreciate
I know
the majesty of my favorite when we get to it.
Is it the next one?
No, the next one's pretty great. The next one is...
I love the lore on the next one. But go ahead.
I do love the lore on this one.
Me too. If we're going on lore, this one has all the stonks to the roof. And it's close to my heart as a...
I don't know. I'm so sold on the KO one. He out-capitalized capitalism.
I mean, that's true. I mean, he is very on point.
Man.
But in the contours of the narrative player's mind, I think the squires of the Everchosen, this next one, really have to be given some due, because we're talking about a nest of ghouls based around a ghoulie who used to be a Varangard, which is honestly a very ignoble fate to go from a Varangard to a Vargulf courtier. But he basically devolved after having a bad fight and getting some of the blood in his mouth and kind of going down the road. Abraxia almost did. Yeah, exactly what you were saying there, Rocco.
Yeah.
He got bad Abraxia braked, and now he's a Vargulf, and he is just delusional, and he thinks he's still in the Slaves Darkness army or part of the Varangard. And so he's riding to the aid of all of the Chaos factions. So, Blades to Khorne, Disciples of Siege, Madkin of Nurgle, Hedonists of Slanesh, Slaves to Darkness. Any of these guys could take this regiment. And of course, it's the former Varangard, Utgar Harrowhand, probably Mangy Marrow Eater or whatever he named in his current life now. And it's him and his 3 more Beg Knights. So already cool fluff and all that. But I think it's kind of backed up by a fun set of rules, because you get these 2 units here, and we can get into the war scrolls in a minute, but the 2 key rules they have, which are fun, are one, the diluted quest, which of course makes sense for the squires ever chosen, which is basically picking an enemy unit at the beginning of the game and saying, all right, this unit has the enemy of the ever chosen keyword, which allows you to proc the second ability, which is a quest well done, where if this noble lord and his knights are able to go kill that unit, huzzah, huzzah. If the enemy unit of the ever chosen unit is destroyed by a unit in this Regiment of Renown, you then add 10 to the control score of both of the units in this particular group. So you might ask yourself, well, how good is that really? High control scores are a dime a dozen, or you can out score out a bunch of guys in the unit. Well, at least one of these units has some pretty crazy movement shenanigans, and they're both pretty good in the fight. So the thing in my mind is that you have to kind of think, all the way back to your Flesh Eater Courts days, and say, what do these guys do? And you basically have the 2 units, right? Well, I'm gonna go in reverse order and actually start with what I find to be the less exciting of them, which is the Morbeg Knights. So they're not getting all the buffs from being in the faction, but they're still 12-inch move, 4 health knights with a 4-up save.
They get the ward.
Yeah, they have the ward, a 6-up ward. You get them in there. You get 2 attacks from the lance, a 3-up, 4-up, with a rend 1 and 1 damage, +1 damage in the charge. Then you got the baddies, special ability, which is just solid attacks. 3 attacks, 4-up, 3-up, 1 rend, 2 damage. Good medium strength, kind of monster cavalry. But you got the Predator's Pounce, where they can retreat and charge, which is awesome. Always with 12-inch things.
Yeah.
And they have an impact hits thing where, although not quite as good as the last edition, they'll still do D3 mortal wounds and a 2-up to whatever you run them into, the 1 unit you pick. So they're good runaround cavalry. But I think the star of the show here is the Vargulf, because the Vargulf was always kind of a cool, semi-squishy, fighty character for the Flesh Eater Courts. But with this control score thing, I think he becomes a terror. Because this dude, he comes in stock at 10 move, 8 health, 2 control, a 5-up save. But he's pretty fighty. He's got like the big 1 attack with the dagger-like fangs, which is essentially, rend 3 against infantry, because the anti-infantry rend, and it's a 3-up, 2-up for 3 damage. Then a respectable 7 swings for 2 damage at 4-up, 3-up with, again, anti-infantry rend. So you're getting the 2 rend there.
He's normal, brutal.
Yeah, he hits hard. And his normal suite of abilities includes being able to move over stuff as if he had fly, though he does not have fly,
which is really good.
Really good. It gets weird places with a 10-inch movement, and running and all that, and charging. But at the end of any turn, if he's getting excited and shoveling steaming guts in his mouth after killing something or whatever, he can both heal D6 to himself, keep himself alive after killing any model, as long as any model was slain by him, any single model. And he can immediately scurry off into retreat as if we're in a movement phase without any mortal wounds being inflicted on it. So this guy, single-handedly, you can ping into something which can't kill him in return, where you kill at least 1 model, kill a model, and then move 10 inches again onto something else, and likely cap that objective, because he has a control score of 12 after you proc this on some ether wings or something. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pick Aether Wings, a little support hero that can be easily bodied somewhere, a little screen somewhere.
Morbegs go do it. He's off stealing objectives, and I'm here for him.
Do the Morbegs have fly?
They should. They're giant bats. I will double check.
I think they do. Their wings are pretty sad for something that's supposed to fly, but they do. Yeah.
Cool. They do. So he doesn't, but they do, which is fine. That means you've got a unit of 3 there. So if you do keep him with them, then they've got the lookout sir going.
That's true.
Right? Yeah. So like the 5-up save, I think, is the only thing that's really like keeping it from being like and this is coming from somebody who's primarily been playing Daughters of Cain. Like the 5-up save is not as survivable as one would hope to be. is even with that 6-up shrug, right?
It's true. It's something that people know what you're up to and they have the right tools. They can erase this pretty easily, but it's also one where, if the points are right and you've procced it, it can win you a lot of games where you're just absolutely breaking a battle tactic for them or stealing an objective and flipping it so that they're, not 1-2 more or whatever it happens to be in that scenario. So I think they're definitely movement shenanigan fun.
Now, the reason I actually am now kind of like, well, so first off, I think they kind of failed at something with this one. Because they should have called them the Varan Ghouls.
Oh God, you are so right. You are
so I'm just gonna say a little tisk tisk, guys. But the oh, I just saw it. The thing that I actually kind of like about this is that there are 310 points. Like that's not bad. It's not bad for this amount of movement in an army that needs that amount of movement. That being said, a lot of these armies have pretty good movement, except for one. I feel like they would do very well for Maggotkin of Nurgle.
Oh yeah,
and they have something that Maggotkin like lacks in that regard, which is like higher damage, higher rend in one package
in there to
on the speed, right?
And that tricky control score flipping is exactly what they need off until like turn again. So that's
yeah. So like I could see them there. Blades of Corn, I would love to see them in there just because I'd love to see these models covered in blood. But like I don't think Blades of Corn needs any help from this.
No.
Yeah. You're not wrong. They're kind of a win more regiment right now. Like, even like bringing them the Slaves, it's like, yeah, I can flip that objective, or I can just run it over with Baron Guard or Chosen or something.
I feel like you could use this also as like something for like a more foot-based Hedonites of Slaanesh list.
Cover the archers a little bit, a little fast mobile thing.
Yeah, and that's how you get your points early on, right? Like kill him down with archers and then kill the unit.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, they're good.
Tzeentch, I feel like Tzeentch maybe with a foot list, but even then, like discs are faster and just better, to be honest.
Yeah. What's the points on this one, guys?
310.
310. So it's just cheap enough where it's like, yeah, I can see that.
It's slightly cheaper than 6 discs.
Yeah, but at the same time,
now, then points are gonna drop right after, before we drop this episode. But yeah.
I mean, 6 discs will probably go up, right? We're seeing them in every list. Yada yada.
Yeah.
Either that, or they'll do the other thing and just pull points down for other stuff, right?
Well, points wise, I think they're pretty debatable, right? Because so much of the value of like a Flesh Eater's Court's hero is built into like their noble deed points and all the stuff that you do with it. And this guy getting onto that. I mean, he does get sort of the benefit of his cool ability, right, to be able to like kind of become a control score terror, but he also doesn't get easy access like +1 to wound or +1 attacks or any of the stuff you get from like the delusion. So I mean, he's a watered down, overpriced Vargolf courtier who just is very cool.
Yeah,
being his best self.
I mean, one of the things that really excites me most about this is going to be the conversions if people are doing it.
Yeah.
That's good foreshadowing, by the way, Matt. I'm going to hold you to that for what we get to in 2 regiments, which I reserve right now.
Sure.
Yeah. But don't let me foreshadow too heavily. Let's move on to the next one. Have you ever been scared in the woods? Then the Lost Song Spirits are for you. Rocco, Matt, you guys want to take one of this?
I got this one.
You got this one?
Yeah, and we got a lot of lore on Decrepia too, which is the one island in the realm of life that death keeps taking over and over and over again, trying to keep all the forces of life down. Right in the middle of where like 2 or 3 continents kind of meet in a land bridge. And this is the Outcasts regiment here that is trying to just be like, you know what, screw it, we'll work with death. All right, they're here, we still get to kill stuff. They take the bodies, we mess their souls up. This is a good time. But wait, you may wonder, because it includes Flesh Eaters, Nighthaunt, Bone Reapers, Grave Lords, and then Deepkin, which is a wonderful thing because they just mess with people's souls,
What a nice
so random
RP include, like
yeah. That's some narrative play here. So what you get is 2 units of 5 spite revs for some good mortal wound output and a tree lord. And what you get for abilities here is endless wandering once per turn for the army in the enemy hero phase. Pick a unit in this regiment that is not in combat, and they get to use a normal move in the enemy hero phase, as if it was your movement phase, which you can use to set up ominous fog, a passive where units in this regiment of renown are not visible to enemy units within 12 inches from the tree lord. So enemies need to be outside of 12 of the tree lord and wholly within 9 of the tree lord for friendlies, as it just kind of just gives off a fog cloud of you can't see me, so you can't target me with shooting or magic, which is what usually does in units of spite revs and the tree lord itself. No, that's the weakness. They get shot to death walking up there, and if you don't have the teleporting, this is a great delivery system. Yeah. And what you get a freaking tree lord that has good melee, good enough shooting for what it does. You get 2 units of spite revs that I'm gonna double check.
Spite revs, 3 attacks each. I think it's 3s and 3s.
Crit mortals.
6
mortal is the thing, yeah. But yeah, they can shut off commands, but like
which is the important bit.
That, yeah. But 2 health, a 5 up save, and 5-inch movement. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
They're a little bit delicate, but this helps a lot.
I'm just gonna be honest. This should be in Sylvaneth. This should be an option for Sylvaneth.
Yes.
Let's be 100% honest, right?
100%.
I saw this and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Oh, it's not in Sylvaneth. Why?
Because it gives you a use for the tree lord too, because they keep getting overshot. Because what the ancient is magic, Durthu has the sword.
Yeah, you want to get your run in charge, yada yada yada, right?
Yep.
Or a 3d6 charge, whatever
it is. Whatever it is. But you get your massive impaling talons still with the crit mortals. You get 5 good sweeping blows with anti-charge rend. You've got again the generous battle damage of 10 or more wounds when the thing only has 14. You're on a 3-up save. You got your entangling grasp and shooting phase to the target cannot use run or retreat abilities until the start of your next turn, which would include things like a redeploy. So you can be setting up other parts of your army for future turns. And once per turn in any combat phase, this also on a 3-up can subtract 1 to wound rolls from an enemy unit as its rampage. That's really freaking good for going into any elf army that already wounds on a 4-up.
Yeah, it's really good debuff, right? It's interesting to see it only be available for these armies. Because I feel like they don't need it.
Yeah, well, Nighthaunt don't need anything right now. They're living life pretty good. OBR, Soulblight doesn't need it. It can do enough debuffs and have, depending on the build you want to take. Flesh Eaters need a little love. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if mortal wound output is the way, but for Deepkin, I'm looking at this as if I didn't want to take more Star Eels for some reason, there's lore about them working with this specific faction of Wood Elves anyway, doing this.
Wood Elves. What game are we in?
I know, right? Alliance of
Elves in the Woods anymore.
Right.
Shout out to the first army book for Deepkin, where you could take basically this and have a good time.
Yeah. That was so cool.
It was. And it's a solid. It's the price of a turtle.
Yeah, 430 points. Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not terrible. I mean, it's got a cool thing going. It has a theme. I still feel like with the speed you have with this army regiment, and the ability of the ominous fog, the endless wandering can get you places and be sneaky, but you're sort of trying to bunch around the tree lord to not be killed, and they're still fragile. Like, okay, you didn't see me, then I moved up and I killed you because you're 10 wounds and a 5-up save.
Yeah,
this buys me like another turn,
maybe.
So alternative take though here, looking at something like, Soul Blight, maybe. So Soul Blight is, they've got a couple of different builds that they run. Of course, I'm trying to do something that's completely stupid and probably never worth it.
Go
But
on.
like what this does is allows for a 2-drop in a couple of Soul Blight lists. If you are running overly doubled up, regiments, and doing points heavy units,
give me some Graveguard.
You could
some
probably.
Knights.
Oh, not even that. Give me some dragons. Give me some.
Yeah.
Give me some. What are the bad guys again? I've asked like 4 times.
Vargheists.
Vargheists. Give me some.
Vargheists,
2 doubled up units of Vargheists. Give me 2 dragons. Give me a Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon.
Yeah.
We now have like hyper mobility up at the front, and then this slow moving thing that's going to hit you, but you have to worry about everything else as it's coming up to get you, right? You can't pot shot it, right?
No, you got to fight them honest.
And at a 2-drop, that's 50-50 chance you're going to be able to go first in normal competitive meta, right?
Yeah.
Are we ready for the next regiment?
I think Jack's ready.
I'm ready. This is the true gift of Grotmas. And I'm just putting my stamp down here. And it is by far the most powerful and broken thing that they have released in this entire pack.
Okay. See, I'm gonna, before you go into it, I read this. I saw a lot of people really excited reading this. It proved to me that I can't read because I didn't understand the rules. So we'll have to go through this again, as we are right now.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So just as Boromir would clench his hands and proclaim that it is a gift, Nurgle has given us something for Grotmas. Because
it's disease.
The most thematic, silliest, and somehow most powerful possible regiment had just been released. So
it's very cheap. So yeah, I could say per point. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, granted, like it does lock you out of using any other regiment Renown if you take this. So that's its own drawback, because there's so many cool options now if you want to build in a theme or a function.
Yeah.
But just all bear with us. So the Nurgle's gift. What is it? Well, Nurgle is a generous god, granting gifts even to those who deny his genius, and it takes only one infected well, watered hole, or impurted keg for corruption to bite. So basically, you drank the bad water, you ate the undercooked meat, or you just hung out in the wrong swamp, and now
I got the bubble guts, man. What are we doing?
You got the bubble guts. You have bad diarrhea, and your army is infected. So what you're basically doing is buying an unwanted infection from Nurgle for your army. Yeah. But it comes with so much benefit. And as you might ask, well, who can dysentery infect? And the answer is pretty much
everybody.
Except Nurgle. Some minor exceptions. Like for some reason, Lumineth can't get the shits, but everyone else, it's like
Lumineth is in there. Lumineth is in there.
It? Oh, never mind. Okay,
under Cool Boys, in between.
They dig privies too. That's good. I mean, Beasts of Chaos, Bone Splitters, Cities of Sigmar, Daughters of Cain, Flesh Eater Chords, Fire Slayers, Gloomspike Kits, Iron Jaws, Kiradan Overlords, Cruel Joys, Lumineth Realm Lords, Ogre Maw Tribes, Skaven Slaves,
Cruel Joys, love it.
Cruel Joys, Sons of Bahamut and Sylvaneth. So
no deep skin on this one.
Essentially things that aren't bones and people who wash themselves all the time, I guess.
Exactly. It doesn't work if you can't eat or if you are continuously pressurized with the deep sea, apparently. But what do you get for this amazingly powerful thing? You get 2 units of 3 Nurgling bases each. Yeah, so Nurglings, right? Makes sense. But what it is in the deployment period, they always strike a deep strike because they're in the incubation period. Or they're basically waiting for something to happen because they're festering within. People are burbling the bubble guts as they go to fight the war. And then here's where the sauce really hits everybody. It's bursting with life, where basically when your units die, there's a chance a swarm of happy Nurglings burst out and mess with you. And the effect is, if a friendly non-Nurgle's gift unit would be destroyed, before the last model is removed from play, roll a dice. Add 1 to the roll for each other friendly non-Nurgle's gift unit that has been destroyed this battle. On a 5+, pick a friendly unit that's festering within, and set it up wholly within 6 inches of that model. It can be set up in combat. This is wild.
Chaos. It's a Tzeentch spawn. Tzeentch spawn spell. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's just the movement shenanigans of this mean that you have two completely unpredictable but sort of predictable what a Bod's Not God's army set of speed bumps that can be basically popping up almost anywhere. So like, did you want to double turn and not be in combat? No, you're in combat. Did you want to run over something of a speed bump? No, it's here. Did you not want that thing, like literally like anything within 9 inches of the combat? Not in combat? No, it's in combat now. Like 3 Nurglings have tagged your archers. Have fun. You know, like you were just ready to screw with everybody's plan. It's like literally like a blue deck God card has just fallen into a Regiments of Renown for literally any person. And it's like 100 points or something ridiculous. I forget what it would have cost, but
it's 180. So about the cost of like a light infantry, or not light infantry, a light cavalry.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And you get 2 of them. Two of them.
Yeah, and you know they regenerate their wounds if you don't kill them off, right? So like I like that, you know, I guess there's only 2 that can be put up if I'm reading that correctly.
At a time, because there's only the 2 units in the regiment.
Only the 2 units, but you get 2, and it could. I guess like the downside is the lack of pure predictability, because the first time a unit dies, it's a 5-up. The second time a unit dies or is about to die with that last model, it's a
4-up.
Then a 3-up. But for someone trying to plan for this stuff, like that is not great. Like if you are putting together a nice, carefully orchestrated set of like pick them apart charges or whatever to get something done, and you have to just say, well, there's a 1 out of 3 chance I lose this tournament game because my plan falls apart. That's not good.
Yeah, and 1 lucky dice roll can really do that, right?
Yeah, it gives you a chance. No, that's all you need sometimes, and then some little dudes pop out and go. Blah, blah.
It's so true.
It is worth noting that, like, as the opposing player coming in against this, what I would want to do is multi-charge and split attacks, right? And I feel like that would be a good way of actually throwing somebody's plan out of whack, even if they're only planning on rolling a 5-up, right? That's an immediate denial of that ability.
Like, don't fully kill the unit, basically. Like, that's the plan. I think you're right. If you can just like break everything just a little bit, it's good. And if you have like a lot of high elite unit, like small unit count, like elite unit kind of armies, it's not going to be great for them. But the ones where you have units thrown away or units regenerating, especially with some recursion, it's like, hey,
Skaven, Sylvaneth dying real quick.
Yep.
Noblars dying in mass. The stupid cats for the saber tusks, the little baby cats for
Fire
Ogrimmon tribes.
Fire Slayers.
That's all they want to do.
Throw like 2 units in with what's his name? The guy that has the tunnels, right? Put 2 of them in, throw them up front. Those were going to be your expendable units anyways.
Yep.
Get lucky and roll that dice while everybody else is marching up, right?
Well,
you've now slowed your
naked. You could literally just force the whole march to stop because you've just blown up some Nurglings into some compromising place in their back line, or tied them up or blocked something. Yeah, it's really cool.
Flesh Eater courts have a reason for this. It's so cheap too. You're just missing like a hero or a unit of 20 ghouls.
The real Ironeth is that Sylvaneth can take it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off there, Rocco.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm thinking like Flesh Eater courts we use, but the fact that Sylvaneth can take this is weird.
It is the soul pod gets dirty. I mean, it's like the verdant life. I can see like this being like the fight.
You got a little schmutz there, Alariel.
Yeah.
Oh, the schmutz is turning into. Oh no.
Disease.
I like it. I like the idea of it. I am always scared on a 5+, right? Because that's going to be the one that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to get this.
it's only a 5+ until that one saber tusk dies, and then it's a 4+. In the right army, that's not a liability, but I know what you
and
mean.
then if you don't get that, then it's a 3+ afterwards when the next unit dies.
This could be interesting in Cities of Sigmar too. If you're just running a bunch of like min-max steel helms,
yeah,
the screens, you've got 2 screens potentially, right?
Steel helms and fusiliers and min units screening out, dying by the droves. This is we're there, man.
Jack's opening my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, especially in cities
putting nasty stuff in them.
Make sure you use some ointment on those eyes.
Those eyes are weeping with joy or pus. But a couple
things.
Oh no!
No, a sty.
Ah.
I've opened your eye with a sty, and let me pour some more revelation into that.
There's more.
That tunnel of wisdom. So I know. But I think there's 2 things to say on this, which are not gross, but less gross things to say, maybe.
Okay.
One is that cities are actually awesome choice for this, because you have speed bumps you want to create, especially in one of those more like shooty focused armies. You want your cannon gun line that you're talking about. You want the Fusel Ogre dude. Yeah. Oh, look, my steel helms made 3 more things, and I have another turn to shoot you. Great.
Yeah.
Actually, glad we ate that questionable pasta last night, army.
The one thing is you'd be giving up the Saviors of Cinderfall, which are still good as regular cities units anyway. Oh no, they're not a Regiment of Renown. Fuck it. What am I saying? They're not the Regiment of Renown. The regular cities units. Yeah, take them.
Yep. You can do it all in cities. Cities is where it's at. The second thing is
to play more cities.
Shit.
I did come up with, for my own purposes, a really fun conversion. So I'm calling it my alternative Nurgle's Gift version. It's Master of Puppets.
Okay.
Song.
Okay. I'm on board.
Yep. So of course you got plenty of creepy Chaos Sorcerer Lords. So many that I assume one of them is probably deeply, disturbingly into puppet magic.
Oh no.
And I have, that special edition, Chaos Sorcerer Lord, Mialamar, whatever it is, and it come with 4 cool, like creepy little familiars. Yeah. I just need to find 2 of like the suitably creepy thematic old school familiars from the Chaos range.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put each of them on a Nurgle base and just kind of decorate most of the base with like disturbing stuff like Empire Soldiers they've cut up or something they've gotten to.
Sure.
And it's sort of gotta be like each of them is a Nurgle base, right? And they're from like, one of those old 80s horror movies like Puppet Master or Chucky or whatever.
A little Dark Crystal kind of deal. Going with the puppet. It's the messed up Muppets, everybody.
Yeah. And the theme is, these creepy things are hanging out in people's packs or kits or amongst their gear or in the enemy's gear. And like, they're in there and they pop up inconveniently after some of the slaughter happens and they're the speed bumper they're fighting. And of course, they're just little servitors associated with one of the creepy wizards in the army.
Sure.
You have to do Leech Lady, then. You have to find the Leech Lady from Puppets Master and somehow do the Leech Lady. She's the grossest one.
Dear God.
I'm taking that as my guidance. I have 2 open slots because the special edition miniature comes with 4 very cool little models. But the last 2 were kind of hard to pin down. There was one I liked. It was an old school like wooden mannequin, like literally holding like a mace.
Yeah,
he seemed just like very puppety, so I wanted him. Sure. Maybe the Leech Lady can be the 6th.
Yeah,
I dig it. I dig
gotta do the Leech Lady. The other one that I like is the Silver Tower ones.
Oh yeah,
I somehow ended up with doubles of those. So
do you have a bunch of those? Which ones do you like from that? Which of those?
Oh, my favorite is Slop. I actually made a D&D character off of Slop.
The
fish with
fish
2 legs.
With the legs. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It is fun.
Yeah, I like the walking book too. It's not as
the
creepy,
walking book. The walking book is the second best, and then there's the guy that's basically there's a guy that's basically just like a moon face dude. He looks like he
almost looks like a Gloomspite Git almost.
Yeah,
I saw that guy. He's very creepy. I was considering him because I thought he had like some killy puppet energy.
Yeah,
he's good. He's good.
Hey, you know what else is Killy puppet energy? Everyone who likes, subscribes, rings the bell, and yeah, no, gotcha. No, I don't like horror that much. I'm bringing this back, fellas. Listen, no, you like what we're doing, and you like big puppet energy here.
And you cannot lie.
No. Yeah. We got a Patreon, we got a Discord. You can go and see all this stuff and tell Jack what he should be building next.
That's true. And unverifiable and sort of litigatable or as a promise, but I'm pretty sure that if you hit like, subscribe, and join the Patreon, you have like some minor protection mojo from evil puppets. So can't be too careful.
And due to algorithms and all of the fun stuff as we're continuing forward.
Should have done this with the capitalist dude, huh?
Yeah, right.
All right.
Go ahead and if you hate our podcast, tell us why in 7 words. Because that will help us with the search algorithms. And that'll give us more love, which means eventually that'll give us more time to be able to do this and move on to, dare I say, battle reports.
Bold, very bold, audible. Like, what are you seeing? Like, describe them to me.
I mean, I know you have every army and every model.
There is a method to the madness.
Okay.
But anyways, please do. It really helps us. It doesn't cost you any money. To like and subscribe and leave a comment, which you can direct it at me in 7 words or more. Just say, Matt, I wish you would explode because of nurglings from your guts.
Right? Play Marvel Crisis Protocol. Don't get the bubble gut.
There you go.
I'm sure they get the bubble guts there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we got a couple more to power through, guys, I think, for everybody here. And now let's move on to one of the, I'm just going to call them the remainder because we just hit such a high note. Who wants this one?
I think it's Rocco's turn, right?
I'll do it. Yeah, this guy definitely has the bubble guts.
Oh, he definitely does.
I mean, I did the tree men one, but I'll take this because the Stumblefoot Gargant. Hey, everybody. You like how in the new Sons of Behemoth books, they got rid of the Ale Guzzler Gargant, but you're just like, man, I really wish I had a drunken motherfucker stumbling around like my uncle at every holiday. Go, hey, man, this is the Regiment of Renown for you. The Stumblefoot Gargant, included in, I think, literally everything. Beasts of Chaos, Corn, Bone Splitters, Cities, Dog. All of them. Everybody can take them.
Every single one.
And it is just one drunk uncle. I mean, one man crusher. So what you do here is, unfortunately, you get the bubble guts. It comes out one of 2 ways, but you might projectile vomit. Once per turn with your army in any shooting phase. Pick this unit to use this ability if not used a rampage yet. And then pick a point on the battlefield within 6 inches of the big buddy here. And pick all other units, friendly and enemy, within 3 of that point. And then roll a d3 on a 2-up and inflict that many mortal wounds. If you want a nice little point and there you go. Next, we have the once per turn army in any combat phase. Again, also technically counts as a rampage for this. Where I also lost the rampage keyword. It's not technically, it's actually. But you can, if you didn't throw up, bellowing mockery. Just make fun of the dude when you, as you tend to do when you get drunk and you get into fights. You talk shit. So pick this unit to use this ability if it's not used a rampage yet this turn. Then pick an enemy unit within this unit's combat range. On a 3-up, make them -1 to hit for the rest of the turn.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good, man. I don't know. You throw up on them or you hurt them with words. And then the last was, what are you looking at? In any charge phase here, once per army, again, pick this unit, and if it is charged and not use another rampage, pick an enemy unit within 9 to be the target, roll 2d6. This unit can move that many inches equal to the roll, and it can pass through enemy models and must then move with combat with the target. So if you want to pinball around a man crusher Gargant, you can just be like, you charge someone said some shit, like, what are you looking at? You little pipsqueak of a 5-wound support hero. Yeah, just waddle your way over, and you get a man crusher Garget all up in the business.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good. Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're losing any rampage from the war scroll because it doesn't have one.
Yeah. You gain
Um,
3.
yeah, I mean, this is just, and even the points, right? I think, yeah, he's 180. He's the
Okay.
same cost as
Yeah. A cheap little
as the other
monster
one.
gets you in there, you know?
Just a fun little distraction alcoholic, you know?
Yeah, it's a distraction
Yeah.
kind of effect. It's yeah, little you know, just it's just living life, man. It's just stressful. He needs one to take off the edge.
Yeah. I
And by
mean,
one we mean a whole keg.
yeah. And
He's here
Um,
like
for it. He's here for it. I mean, it
they're
really is
not
just the
gonna
old.
be the most survivable, right? But they do
No.
something in every phase now, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and like this is good. I'd take
pretty
it for
good.
180. You know,
A
he's so
silly little
fast.
mortal wound on multiple units to hit a few units if there's heroes
Hmm.
grouped up. If there's a unit and a hero that you're trying to get down, and if you did that in one turn and then you double turned them, and now you're like, what are you looking at? You already puked on the dude. Now you can go and pinball around and get up there. Yeah, it's not bad. You've got play here in a model that's still really cool, that's still really cheap. And
Mm-hmm.
if we get other, because that's the other thing too, if these regiments just keep staying, and if we
Hmm.
get other battle tactics that involve monsters again, this might be something the future us looks back at and goes, huh, not bad.
I would
Well,
agree. I mean, it's not flashy in some ways. It's just, but hey, it's your big drunk uncle, and sometimes he has a seat at the table.
I think this. I'm gonna put this one as second or third
Really?
on competitive for me.
Okay.
Um,
And any army can take them. So,
yeah, and the reason I say that is because if you, depending on the army that you're playing, right? Like not only is this guy in shooting, combat, or charge phase being able to do something for you.
sorry, one thing of note.
Hmm.
Not every army can take them. Sons of Behemoth cannot take them.
I was
Forgive
gonna let
me,
that
forgive
slide,
me,
but
forgive me.
I
No, no, I'm
appreciate
not
the
gonna pull.
honesty.
I'm not. Yep, that's on me. I'm the fact checker. I should know better.
um, but if like just think about this, with the just the combat phase one, right? If you
Mm,
have any other debuff -1 to wound spell
yeah,
and you use this guy as a support character,
yeah,
that's really good. Who are they going to have to target? Are they going to have to target him or the other unit that's going in with them, right?
mm, yep,
Um, with the charge phase, hey, cool, great. That's a nice screen you have. It'd be a shame if I just walked over it, right?
yep.
Yeah, he has weird utility.
Yeah, it
yeah,
gets
there's a
to it.
lot of utility in this. Don't have many mortal wounds in your front line. Let's say you're playing Nurgle and you have to wait for the end of the turn. What if you
Yep.
just need to kill something in your shooting phase? Boom.
Yeah, or soften them up at least so that the disease does its job. This is
Hmm.
we've got
Totally
ways here,
fair.
people.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm gonna try this one out, I think.
I can see that. I have a spare giant painted up. I've been using for the Slaves to Darkness from the Beasts. So there's room in all
Yeah,
this. I could do it too. But hey, there's more. We got 2 left, and
Matt, you
now we're
want the
gonna get a
next one?
bit dank with it.
Now this one is interesting. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm also kind of like okay with it. Even though
Uh,
like I don't know. We'll see. So this is Snurk's Trog for hire. I don't know why for hire is the way to say it, but that's how I'm going to say it.
Piratey, but good.
yeah.
And apparently that drunk gargant from the page above it essentially taught him mercenary work.
Yeah.
So apparently after that,
The great
nobody wants to
secret.
hire a grot.
Mm-mm.
What is his skill set? Chopping shins? No.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
just went and found somebody who could bop heads and got himself a Dankhold Trogoth, which I like the Dankhold Trogoths in general.
Yeah.
Um,
They're good hero for it.
And this
feels like a hero.
Yeah, it's just a loon boss and a Dankled Troggoth. And for what it is, it's 250 points, which feels cheap.
It does.
Feels cheap to me. And that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know what to think about this. Now, you guys don't know anything else about it yet, so let me get into it.
Help me out,
Of
man.
Chaos, Bone Splitters, almost everybody all over again. Almost every single unit, or almost every single army can take these. And you pick the Dankled, so you got your charge phase, right? And the little dude goes, go that way. The guy's name is Snurk, by the way, which is awesome. So Snurk points a direction, Dankled Troggoth. If he's within 12 inches, not wholly within, just within of the loon boss, for the rest of the turn, the target, or I guess I hate that it's target. See, this is where I can't read. Pick the Troggoth in the Regiment of Renown to be the target within 12 inches of the loon boss. For the rest of the turn, that Dankled Troggoth can still use charge abilities, even if it's used a retreat ability, which means you can like start slingshotting him, right?
Yeah. I can't read either. I thought it was a Trog boss at first. This is just the monster version out here with his 10 health, 4-up save, got his ward.
Yeah.
Still a nice war scroll.
And then there's a passive effect that's going on all the time here. While the loon boss in this Regiment of Renown is within combat range, the Dankled Troggoth, the loon boss has a 4+ save, 4+ ward, right? So that's how you're gonna have to keep him alive to yeet the Troggoth, right?
Yeah.
And then each time you make a successful ward roll, you allocate 1 damage point to the Dankled Troggoth. So
a pretty typical shrug then. Yeah. Nothing too wild there.
It seems like, I don't know, kind of an unexpected way of getting extra movement in a Dankled Troggoth, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Because now you've got, what are they, 6-inch movement, 5-inch movement?
6-inch movement, 10 health, 5 control, 4-up save.
Yeah, so you've got a 6-inch movement, then 12-inch charge, right? And then instead of like being stuck in combat, you can then retreat out 6 inches and then charge even further in the back line.
Yeah.
My guess would be that the poor loon boss is gonna die though, like on the
so quick,
like second turn, or at least the first turn that you try this. Outside of that, I mean, it's so cheap. It's kind of like, I just want to try it and either be pleasantly surprised or be, validated. Which, everybody loves validation, but I don't know if I need it that much for this, right?
D3 plus 3 damage on the club. It has a 4-up ignore for spells on the Troggoth. Again, we have troll regeneration for D3 at the start of any turn. So, if the Grat doesn't get fully nuked and passes on just some damage to the Troggoth, it can heal back up a bit.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, the if this unit is in combat, it can move 6 inches, but must end the move in combat. On a 2-up inflict mortal wound as a rampage, and wait and smash there. It's a solid war scroll that is a killy combat hero profile that some armies just don't have.
Yep. And for 180 points, I could see him.
Shut up! It's 180.
Yeah, that's where I'm like conflicted, because it's
that's like how much. It's about how much the normal guy is.
So you can
not bad.
You can yeet him into combat, get on the other side of the combat. The only thing that you have to make sure of is that the Grot boss stays alive through that combat, and then he can retreat and go even further, right? So you've got. Sorry, I was trying to do the math earlier. 6 inches, 12 inches, the 6-inch rampage thing to get to the other side of the unit. Then you've got another 6 inches, then another 12 inches.
Yep.
So that's a pretty good distance. You can just, launch a trog, right?
And this dank old trog on its own normally gets is 180 points. So
no, and like it changes the role of the model too, right? Because like before you'd see it as just like trogs are just they don't die, and you just don't want to be in combat with them. That's what it is. They're slow. They don't do anything. This you can, he's running for it.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. He's running for it for one turn.
Well, he definitely has some utility. If you want a guy that can hit hard and can kind of get weirdly around, it's a fun little regiment. Yeah. I don't know if I feel like it's the strongest of all of them, but I do think it's fun. I love the ability to just do it.
Yeah, that's gonna catch somebody out within like an elite army that doesn't have the bodies to just block the movement.
Mm-hmm. Or even if they do, and like you just want to get through those bodies very quickly at the cost of a light infantry or a light cavalry unit, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit more survivable than that light cavalry unit.
Yeah. It comes with the ward in the.
Huh. I'm going to call it the yeet machine.
So true.
Yeet meat machine. There we go.
There you go.
Guys,
I don't know.
I
kind of want to try it. I kind of want to try it.
You gotta try it.
So there's one more?
One more. And it's not just any, it's the final one. It's the Garoan Scions.
I feel like I have to take this because they're my boys.
Your Famir are going to be all this.
You absolutely do.
Well, I mean, I can't take them. Can't take them in Famir. But I could definitely proxy these.
That's true.
Into a different army.
Only way to get all of the Theridons in one place, technically, because of the way they're spread across armies. But hey, I'm big with it.
Yeah. So Garoan.
We got Lord too on the Ogroids.
Garoan Scions. We'll go with Garoan. So they were called Garoans. Yeah. They were a race of destruction, which what exactly do all destruction armies celebrate and live by the the trappings of Gork and or Mork?
I think they all
what's
do.
going on here?
Yeah,
but not
we have minor deities of the crows in Stormcast. Why don't we have minor deities of destruction? Huh? Did you ever think about that?
I think it was lazy writing.
Cunning in your brutality, guys. Yeah. Come on.
We got the maw that eats. We've got the bad moon.
Yeah,
that's true.
We have a Drogruck, one of them, which calls itself a god and doesn't even know what a maw is, or a Gorgormork. So that's
true.
Definitely some inconsistency there, but
I could be wrong.
Cool. They're cool.
I'm an incorrect person in this.
No, it's fine, Matt. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It's very strange, and it's very funny too with the Famir because they were chaos and went to destruction in second edition, and these were destruction and they fell to chaos. So these blah 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 blah. It's not really much interesting lore there to parse through, which is hilarious, but it's essentially ogroids. And so it's one ogroid Myrmidon, one thaumaturge, which is the Tzeentch one from Silver Tower, which I'm so happy they actually just kept that in the game somehow. And then one unit of 3 Theridons, which are the beefy beat sticks. It's worth noting that these models in and of themselves are actually really good without the marks. They're solid, and the Theridons and the Myrmidon actually work together stupidly well. They have probably one of the best chained combat attacks in the game.
I agree.
And I think what is it? +1 to hit and +1 attack, maybe even could just be +1 to hit. But that makes them amazing because then you can deal with the things that Theridons struggle with because they have a 4+ to hit. You can give them +1 to hit and then all out attack for a +2 to hit, negating any -1 to hit stuff. So they're
the Myrmidon's good at the monsters.
Yep. So they're very good. And Therodons are anti-infantry, so they'll get +2 rend into infantry.
Okay, and so it's pick a friendly Ogroid Therodon unit that does not use the fight ability this turn and is within combat range of the target. The target can be picked to fight immediately after the fight ability is used by the Myrmidon. If it is picked to do so, add 1 to hit rolls to the target's attack, so it saves you an all-out attack.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is really juicy.
And there's a once per turn, I guess, is where they get +1 attacks.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
The Therodon War Scroll.
Yeah, the Therodon's always got that. They're pretty self-contained, just in how good they are at fighting or doing their thing. Mark or mark less. I think I'm mostly interested in the forge craft for the giving to the narrative here.
So it's you can only take these in destruction armies.
That's true.
Okay.
Do any of these destruction armies need it? I don't know. Maybe Sons of Bandit.
We got a wizard.
There's 1 or 2 guys in there who could use it. I mean, like, if you have a single big fighty hero, like a guy on like a cabbage or dare I say it, Kragnos, and you want to just make that rend untenable, take this and a 3-up, it increases the rend. The target's immediate weapon until the next turn.
Because isn't it's destruction hero that is wholly within the combat range of a hero in this regiment. So that'd be like a foot mega boss.
No, you just have to like start him in the range at the beginning of their turn, and then you give him the buff, and he runs off and does his thing. So it's a hero phase.
So interestingly enough, the ones that like this speaks to me the most is Cruel Boys, and it speaks to me the most with Cruel Boys with the Vulture dude. So now,
if he fits, he fits.
Yep. Now you've got the Stinger on an extra rend.
Okay.
Now you're not worried just about the 6s to hit, throwing mortals, right? For any of the poison.
Yeah.
This actually turns the guy on the hyena into a blender.
Yeah. That's where I'd be going with this.
I just want a reason to use the turkey.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I might just be simple, big old smashy tusk guy, but like, take Kragnos, right? His 6 attacks are normally round 1. His Dread Mace is normally round 3, and his Tuskbreaker is round 2. Well, that goes to 2, 4, and 3.
Yeah, it's definitely most comfortable with Kragnos, but the problem with that, and I've always had the same problem with Kragnos, is that Kragnos is stupid expensive. This is also one of the more expensive regiments. It's at 470. How much army are you going to have left after taking Kragnos?
Well, right? 900 points or so, because you get 580 for Kragnos. Then you got this thing. And then, you fill out the rest with whatever. But I mean, you're still getting like 3 Therodons and a dude and like a wizard, for your thing. So you're already like one of your wizard choices done. You have a Kragnos somewhere. I'm pretty sure that in many armies you can have a very comfortable package here. And it's not that Therodons won't do anything. As you and I both know, they're amazing and underrated.
That is true. To follow up on the fact that it does have a wizard, the Thaumaturge actually can pick a visible enemy unit within 12. Casting roll is on a 7, and the target has strike last until the start of your next turn. Huge.
It is, because it's one of those things where, if it does take some wounds, it gets buffed. There are extra attacks. With same with the Myrmidon, I believe. If it takes some damage, they get a buff. And that, cool, you shot me with like stand and shoot or whatever. But now I don't have to worry about fighting you in the order in which I do it, to go and set up all my other stuff, so I can feel safe throwing my wizard in there that took a wound, knowing he won't die, later, while also doing the chain reaction on one side. And it's just a nice way to save your wizard from a horrific death. And it's a very nice way to just set up that all these 5 models at the quarter of your army that can just keep on fighting.
Well, and the additional there is it also gains the burning keyword from the war scroll, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you subtract 1 from hit rolls on the target. So somebody is striking last
That
and
are burning
subtracting
them
1
getting
from hit
Zinch.
rolls. Let's say you're going up against an Alpha Strike army that wants to W into turn 2 to do that right away tap, right?
Yeah.
Or even a 2 to 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
At that point, now you've got Therodons, this guy, and a Myrmidon probably huddling out around in the same area, right?
Sure.
Are you really going to want to let them have 2 combat phases against you? I don't know. That could actually change the tide of some of those choices that have to be made for foregoing battle tactics and going to a steamroll if it's in the right position, right?
Yeah. Also, as an interesting side too, the Thaumaturge has an ability on its war scroll to inflict the burning keyword to units that it gave damage to in the combat phase. So it happens at the end of the turn, and because of the spells here, it gives a definition of what burning is in this case. I'll take this -1 to hit.
Yep.
Because he bonked somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
It's a cool regiment, guys. It definitely seems like fun. I could see like kind of working it away into my ogre army. Though actually, after I do that, it's fewer ogres than big Drogrooks and things.
I mean, at that point, a tyrant.
At that point, what you really should just be doing is all Noblars. Do your Noblar cannon list or scrap launch a list.
Sure.
And just throw a Kragnos and these guys and just go insane, right?
Oh, you made me do it. I'm gonna make that list later and I'm gonna post it. I was tinkering with it before. It didn't feel quite right. This maybe makes it feel pretty right.
So one of the reasons that I really like this is and why I really like it for Cruel Boys though is because Cruel Boys already have dirty tricks, right?
Yeah.
So if you're starting to like provide debuffs, throw mortal wounds, make a strike last on another unit.
Yep.
So now you have multiple units striking last, right? There's a lot of shenanigans that you can do with it. I don't know. I kind of like this for Iron or for Cruel Boys. Kind of like it. Kind of like it for that. Little dirty tricks.
I dig it.
I'm there with you guys. Well, this has been a journey through the first 8 regiments we got for free on Grotmas. Will Games Workshop grant us more like tomorrow in 2 days on a Tuesday again?
Who knows? I'm waiting for that battle scroll to come out to see what we got next,
Yeah, I get that. I'm waiting to pick up my copy of the Slaves of Darkness rulebook, which I think will eventually arrive.
Yeah.
I'm still sitting there waiting for mine. I am trying to step away from the models that have been previewed because, oh my goodness, those little stupid goblins riding wolves are becoming more and more enticing every day. And then, did you guys see the old world Empire Wizard, who is basically the druid,
the dude with the frog
dreams, with his frog man?
Yep.
Frogman was also a candidate for the familiar puppet, but I realized it would take too long to get him.
I have 4 or 5 battle mages, Matt. I've got 4 on foot, 1 on a horse. I didn't need another battle mage. But that frog,
you're going to have one. You're going to have one.
That damn frog, man.
I mean, I'm not even.
I use elementalism too. That's the wizard lore that I use in that army.
I'm not even getting it for that army. I'm gonna get it for the Famir army because, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
It makes perfect sense. I was tempted by them. I have no use for Empire Wizards. I'm like, these are some sweet models. These are cool familiars.
Even the Necromancer, man.
The Necromancer was like one of the best ones, but I don't know. I mean, guys, you're going into the territory of like Chaos Sorcerer Lord problem, where there's always another Chaos Sorcerer Lord who looks equally cool and is identical to the other ones you already have. I mean,
Yeah.
This is where we talk about the mentality of, you know, either extreme losers or extreme winners, man. You can have a problem or you can have a challenge, man. And you just need to put your pocketbook together and rise to that challenge of getting every sorcerer and putting them in a pokeball and then throwing them out as alternate chaos chosen and saying I've collected them all, or I got and caught them all, or something.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it.
Yeah.
it is exactly fair. Well,
yeah.
This is a real interesting take, guys, but I think we've come to one of those good moments in our normal journey.
Yeah.
Indeed.
No, I think we did good. I think we did good. Now it's got to fight for the last word.
Wait.
Indeed.
Do you see? So, do we?
So the thing about Marvel Crisis Protocol is